most important single discovery that people ever made was how to use fire for cooking, for heating, for manufacturing. Many factories use fire to help them make their products. But these are all fires that are kept under control. If the smallest flame is not taken care of, it can get out of control. Fire is one of the fastest spreading things there is. It can destroy almost anything. Because some people are careless, and because accidents happen, fire sometimes gets out of control. Because of this, we must have someone to protect our homes, our schools, and our community from the danger of fire. This is the work of the firemen. The fireman has a job where he may have to risk his life every day, saving lives and property. Does it seem exciting when you see the fire engines racing by? It probably does. But any fireman can tell you that his job is not all excitement, for it is mostly just hard work. Would you like to hear from a real fireman and see what he has to say about his job?
Yes, that's me. On the job. There's always plenty to do around the fire station. Did you know that a fireman has to go to school? While they're learning how to be firemen, the men are called trainees. One of the first things any trainee has to do is learn to work in high places without becoming frightened or dizzy. We all had to learn to go up these long ladders very fast. Can you see why we must be able to work in high places just as easily as if we were working on the ground? Probably the hardest thing a trainee has to do is jump off the training tower into the safety net for the first time. Doesn't that seem a long ways down? In any emergency, we might have to jump. So we do this many times until it becomes easy. Look how the men are trained to land on their backs in a certain way. You can hurt yourself badly, even jumping into a safety net, if you don't do it properly. Do you know why these trainees are wearing gas masks? In a fire, smoke is often more dangerous than the flames themselves. Even though we've used gas masks in our training, we can't wear them all the time when we're fighting fire. So we still have trouble with smoke. Sometimes we have to rescue not only other people, but our own firemen who have been overcome by smoke. After we have had several weeks of this kind of training, we're ready to report for duty, and we are assigned to a fire station. Here we work with the same crew of men all the time. Since no one knows when fires are going to start, there must be firemen on duty all day long and all night long. So some of us work in the daytime for a while, and the others work through the night. Then we change off, so these men can spend the night at home while we sleep at the fire station. In all fire stations where we have our beds on the second floor, There is a brass sliding pole that makes it easier to get down to the fire trucks when the alarm rings. In our fire station, we also have a slide to get down to the ground floor. Some of the men would rather use this. When we are on in the daytime, there are many things to do when we aren't fighting fires. Things like special training courses, or caring for and cleaning our equipment. At our fire station, we have a very unusual truck with a movable tower that will unfold and go up 80 feet. This is as high as an 8-story building. Riding up on this movable tower to fight a fire high in a building is better than climbing a ladder. Not all fire departments have special trucks like this. We often take time to go from house to house in the neighborhood, finding fire hazards that may be around the home. Do you know what a fire hazard is? A fire hazard is something which can very easily catch fire. Papers or dry leaves can be fire hazards. We point these things out to people so that they will take the fire hazards away. In this way, we help prevent fires. Can you think of other fire hazards? Bad electric wiring can be a fire hazard. We often show people how some of the older wiring has worn out insulation and tell them how it can cause a fire. If dry grass and weeds in a vacant lot catch fire, the flames can easily spread to nearby buildings. In parts of the country where there are woods on the edge of town, burning grass can set the trees on fire and cause a forest fire. In many areas, there are specially trained firemen who can fight forest and brush fires. These are some of the hardest fires to put out, and fighting them can be extremely dangerous and tiring. Other fires that are hard to bring under control are fires in oil refineries and oil tanks. Fighting these fires is very dangerous work because oil tanks can explode. Although we get tired of working on our equipment and doing other such jobs between alarms, it would be much better if this was all we ever had to do. However, some people are careless, and the first thing you know, a very small flame or a tiny spark has grown into a big fire that may take hours of hard work before it is put out. Whether the fire is in a factory or in somebody's home, it's always dangerous to other houses and buildings. I often think that our fire prevention work is the most important thing we do. It is much easier to save lives and property if the fire never gets started at all. And best of all, you can save lives and property just as well as a trained fireman. Fire prevention work is your work as well as mine. Remember, even though fire is one of the greatest helpers of man, if it gets out of control, it can be man's worst enemy. This is why your fireman is always on guard.